Back to BSTT. It's Ben here, and today I'm ranking every NHL team by who's on their roster. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first team is the Anaheim Ducks. And looking at their team, it's solid. You have a bunch of bright spots like Trevor Zegras, Zach Aston-Reese, Max Jones, Sonny Milano. You have veterans like Silfverberg, Getzlaff. You also have Troy Terry, who's elite. Jamie Drysdale, Cam Fowler. Personally, I think they're top 25. I'll edit it later if it's not, but yeah. Next, we have the Arizona Coyotes. I think they have the worst roster in the league. They have Clayton Keller, Phil Kessel, Jacob Chicherin, and Nick Schmaltz. But besides them, they don't have anyone else. Like, I'm looking at their roster right now. They have, they have Brian Little also, because they just got him. But they have Andrew Ladd. They have Richie also. Deneen, Shane Gostisbehere, Dyson Mayo, Anton Strawman, Jacob Cornier is their goalie. They're a terrible team. Boston Bruins, I have them in top 10. Patrice Bergeron, Taylor Hall, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy. That's elite. Their goaltending is what's holding them back a little. And Swayman and Ullmark are two really good goalies. But if they still had, Rask last year when he was elite, then they'd be top 3 probably. But, yeah. Alright. Now we have the Carolina Hurricanes, top 5 easily. This team, in my opinion, has the best roster in the league. I'm going to read you a few names. Sebastian Aho, Max Domi, Nino Niederreiter, Martin Niklas, Jordan Stahl, Andrei Svechnikov, Teravainen, Trocheck, Ethan Bear, Ian Cole, D'Angelo, Pesci, Slavin, Smith, Anderson, Ronta. That's elite. Chicago Blackhawks, top 25. Besides DeBrincat, Jones, Cannon, Taves, who else do they have? I don't think they have anyone else. Oh, they have Kirby Dach. But still, Kirby Dach can't carry your team. And their team's not that good. They were overrated from the start, and now that they don't have Fleury, they're not even top 20. Colorado Avalanche, top 5. Landeskog, Kadri, Byram, Makar, McKinnon, Rantanen, and Samuel Girard, and Devon Taves. That team is elite. They're the best team in the league by far. I have them better than Tampa. They're elite. But now we have Columbus, top 25. They're a solid team. I have them in the higher half of the 25, around the 20s. But I don't like that they don't have, an established star. You could say Line or Werenski, because they're two all-stars. But I mean, a star. At least Chicago has Kane. Or, Boston has a bunch. But, I don't know. Let's look at Dallas, who's next. They have Miro Heiskanen, who's established. And what's his name? Pavelski. How did I blank on his name? I don't know. They're a solid team. But if they get that established superstar for their team, like Patrice Bergeron, they'll be elite. That's what they need. Next, we have the Dallas Stars. I'll give them top 15. They have a young, good goalie in Ottinger, who I think if he develops more is what's holding them back out of the top 10. But they got Scott Wedgwood, who's looking like Georgie's Vezina. He's elite. He had that save, I forget against what team the other day. Oh, against Carolina, where it was great. And it was the welcome to Dallas moment. And they also have good decor in Lindell and Klingberg and Suter. They have, and Heiskanen, even though he's hurt. I forgot he was on the team. They have elite forwards with Seguin, Robertson, Radulov, and Pavelski, and Ben, and Hintz. It's just their stars haven't been perform. The established players like Ben and like Seguin haven't been performing this year, but it's been leading the veteran in Pavelski to pop off this year. But yeah, Detroit Red Wings, I'm going to put them later. I can't decide yet. Florida Panthers, top 5. I'm going to read you a little of this team. This team is elite. Alex Barkov, Sam Bennett, Claude Giroux, Patrick Hornquist, Jonathan Huberdeau, Anthony Duclair, Anton Lundell, Sam Reinhart, Joe Thornton, Carter Verhaeghe, elite. Ben Sherratt, Aaron Ekblad, Brandon Montour, Matthias Weegar, Sergei Bobrovsky, and Spencer Knight, who's the goalie of the future. Elite. This team's great. I don't want them to win the cup, and I didn't like what they did this year, although I like how they gave us Vetrano. They're the best roster in the league. The problem is re-signing all these players, and who's going to walk, and is Giroux going back to Philly. But up next, we got the Edmonton Oilers, top 10. Their goaltending is what's holding them back out of the top 5. They have the best player in the world on their team, and then they have another top 10 forward in Draisaitl. And I know it's kind of controversial, I said top 10, but in my opinion, Draisaitl isn't top 5. Who do they have? Who's ahead of him? Well, you have McDavid, who's ahead of him. Matthews is 100% better than Draisaitl. You have Ovechkin still better than him. I still have Crosby better than him. And I think Panarin's better than him. So you have those 5 players that are better than him. And those are just forwards. I also think someone like Victor Hedman's better than him and Kucherov's better than him. And I could even see Ovechkin not being top 5 and Kucherov, or Crosby not being top 5. Draisaitl is a great player, but he scores a lot of his goals when he's playing with the best playmaker in the league, or in the world. Yeah. And they have really good forwards, and like the two of them, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, and they also have Zach Hyman. Yeah. And they have a solid D with like Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie, who's really underperforming. But their goaltending is terrible. Stuart Skinner is a great goalie for the future, but he can't win you games yet. He's still too young. And then you also have Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen, who are 2 of the worst goalies in the league. But yeah. Next we have the New York Islanders, my rival. I hate this team, so I'm just going to put them later because I can't decide yet. LA Kings, top 25. They might be moved down later. Kopitar, Doughty, Byfield. Who else do they have? The 3 of them. No one else. Yeah, wait. Oh, and Philip Danault. And, like, Iafallo, and they had the All-Star this year, and Adrian Kempe. This team isn't that good. They're a good future team. A lot of young players. Got a bunch of players in the AHL that are waiting to come up to the league. Good team for the future. Not a good team for now. You're getting bumped down to bottom 7. Minnesota Wild, top 15. And I could even move them up more, but I'm not so sure about it. Fleury and Talbot. Great top 6 with Joel Eriksson Ek, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Matt Boldy when they play him up there. And Matt Boldy and Kevin Fiala when they play him up there, and Ryan Hartman. That's great. Their defense, Brodin, Dumba when he plays, and Spurgeon, great. Goalies are great. Are they top 10? No. I also think their defense, they have good players in. I like Brodin, I like Dumba, like Spurgeon, like Merrill, like Kulikov. I don't like Goligoski. I don't like Jordy Ben. And I don't like Middleton. I don't like those guys that much. That's what's holding them back. And some of their forwards, like Greenway, Goudreau. Yeah, like Greenway, Goudreau, Wait, yeah, yeah, and Duhaime. But yeah, Montreal Canadiens, bottom 7. Who do they have on their team that's good besides Cole Caulfield? Answer this. They got rid of Tyler Toffoli. Petrie's playing terrible this year. And Carey Price hasn't played in a year, so we don't know how he's going to play. He was elite last year, which carried them. But you can't rely on a goalie that much. My Rangers, we did that for 3 years. We had no one but Lundqvist, Mika, and Kreider, and Zuccarello. Look at how that turned out. Can't rely on a goalie to carry your team. They can't take all that weight. You gotta have it on all the other players. Nashville Predators, top 15. Matt Duchene, good but overpaid. Philip Forsberg, elite. Roman Josi, elite. UCIC Soros, I stole that from someone, I forget who. Elite. This team is elite. They're not top 10 though, as they have a bunch of holes to fill because they're paying their top 6 so much money that you can't really afford a good bottom 6. But yeah, now we have the New Jersey Devils. Hold on, I'm going to think about this for a second. Jesper Bratt's good. Jack Hughes is good. Nico Hischier is okay. PK Subban sucks. Ty Smith is good. Luke Hughes is going to be good when he plays. Blackwood's decent. I think you're bottom 7. I'm sorry. I tried really hard there to give you a higher one, but nah. Didn't work. Now we got my favorite team, the Rangers. I think we're top 10. I'm a little biased, but look at our team. Our first line is elite. We have Kreider, who has 44 goals. Mika, who has like 40-something assists and 25 goals. Either Frank Vatrano or Alexi Lafreniere, who's playing really good recently. We have Panarin, who's a top 5 player in the league on our second line. Ryan Strome, who I think we should get rid of this offseason, but it's good. Andrew Kopp. Sam Rosen said yesterday that we have 7 forwards who are healthy, that can be healthy scratched at our NHL caliber because we have that many good players. We also have Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren, Jacob Trouba, who's playing like the best hockey of his career. Keandre Miller, Braden Schneider. We have the best top 4 in the league, in my opinion. That's why we're top 10. We have the best goalie in the league in Shesterkin. Georgiev put on a show the other night, that's good. My only problem with the team is we don't have a good 6th defenseman. I didn't like the Justin Braun trade because at first we were doing, what's his name? Nemeth and Braun, which was terrible, and we were scratching Schneider. And I think Schneider is good, but we need a 6th defenseman. I don't like either of them. They play the same style of hockey of shutdown D and defensive. I don't want that. I want someone that could score. So that's what's holding them back. Next, we have the Ottawa Senators. Hold on. Josh Norris is good. Dirk Batterson's good. Brady Tkachuk's good. And also, Colin White's good and Thomas Chabot's good. Yeah, top 25. Nothing much to say about them. They're an exciting young team, but as of now, their roster is not that good. Philadelphia Flyers, bottom 7. Gonna take a lot of heat for this, but I just don't think their roster is that good. Aside from Atkinson, Couturier, and like Kevin Hayes. Wait. Van Riemsdyk's okay. They stacked up this year their entire D-core. Their D-core is playing terrible. Their goaltending's not that good. This team's terrible. On paper, they're elite. And that's what I'm supposed to be judging them on. But they're just not playing good together. That's the big problem. This team 3 years ago would have won the cup. They're that good, but they're just not playing good. There's nothing on this team that I like. It's just not good. Pittsburgh Penguins, top 15. Their team's good. They got Crosby, who's elite. They got Malkin when he's playing, who's good. Chris Letang he's the most underrated defenseman in the league, in my opinion. People are talking about how he's getting older and not that good. He has 7 goals, 46 assists. That's great. He was the best player in the Penguins yesterday against the Rangers. He was like blocking shots, diving in the passing lane. He was great. He was the bright spot on the Penguins yesterday. And although he's getting up there in age, he's still a really good defenseman. But what's keeping them out of the top 15 is the rest of their team. I think they overpaid for Raquel because he's probably not even going to re-sign there. And so that's their top 6. They're not that good. But yeah, San Jose Sharks. Top 10. This team, they're underperforming a lot this year. But they're great. Timo Meier, Logan Couture, Tomas Hertl. Elite. They don't have the best rest of the line, even though they have, what's his name they drafted? Will Eklund, who's good, and going to be there for the future. Who else do they have on their forward? They have a bunch of solid younger players, but defense is what I want to talk about. Brent Burns, Mario Ferraro, Erik Karlsson, Ryan Merkley, Mark-Edward Vlasic. Those guys they're great, to say the least. They're past their prime, 3 of them, in Karlsson, Burns, and Vlasic. But they're still quality, good defensemen. And Erik Karlsson and Brent Burns are having bounce-back years. Their goalie is not the best, but they have a good, solid 3-man rotation in Aiden Hill, Capo Kakkonen, and James Reimer. And I think Kakkonen's going to be a great goalie for the future, which is why I have them top 10. Next we have the Seattle Kraken. I have them bottom 7. I don't even know. They did terrible at the expansion draft. They couldn't decide to go young for the future or win all. So they got players like Eberle, Giordano, Gord, Victor Rask, Schwartz, Tanev, Wenberg to win now. And they got players for the future like Dunn, Fleury, Dreger, and I don't even know what they did. Their GM, Ron Francis, he did terrible, and he messed up, and that's why they're bottom 7. St. Louis Blues, top 10, and that closes out the top 10. Wait, sorry, I have to bump down San Jose to top 15. But it's just like, the Blues have a really good team. They have good forwards in players like Jordan Kyrou, Tarasenko, O'Reilly. They have good players for the future like Jake Neighbors. Good D like Krug, Parayko. And great goalies in Binnington. And the new guy. The great guy. The guy with the best save percentage. Ville Husso. This team's great. They just brought in Nick Leddy, who's going to help out on the D. They have Falk. They're a great team. They're just not top 5. But now, got another top 5 team. Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, well, you can't see it. Oh, well. Or you can't see it well, but oh, well. Tampa Bay has a great team. Wait. Hold on. Ain't no way they're... Nah. That's a really controversial thing, but think of it like this. This is how I'm thinking of it. They have 3 elite forwards in Point, Kucherov, Stamkos. They have a really good defenseman. They have 3 good defensemen in Hedman, McDonough, and Sergachev, and a great goalie in Vasilevsky. But if you look at their other defensemen, besides Cernak, who's decent, they have no one. You look at their forward, they have Killorn, and they have Braden Hagel, and Palat, and Sorelli. Besides them, no one. That's why they're top 10. See them as a team like the Rangers, or the Blues, or the Oilers, or the Bruins. Not top 5. Want to know a team that is top 5? Toronto. Toronto has too good of a forward core to not be top 5. Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, and Bunting. That's elite. I'm sorry. Without their D, if they didn't even have a bottom 6 or a D core, they'd still be great. The one problem I have with them is they have not the best goalies. And I don't even think Campbell's that bad, but he's going through a slump, and now he's injured. And Mrazek's playing terrible, so that's the problem. Vancouver Canucks. Top 25. They're a great team. They have Pedersen, Miller, Besser, Horvat. Players like that. They also have Quinn Hughes, who's a great defenseman, and Thatcher Demko, who's probably top 10 goalie in the league. But they're not performing. They underperform. They don't have that much star power, and I think that's what's holding them back. Vegas Golden Knights. Top 5. Although I hate what they're doing because they're pulling a Tampa and doing the whole IR scandal thing to get Eichel to play. This team's too good. Jack Eichel, William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault, Max Pacioretty, Riley Smith, Mark Stone, Chandler Stevenson, Alec Martinez, Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Robin Leonard. That team's great. They have other solid role players like Braden McNabb, Nick Hague, Nick Waugh, Nolan Patrick, Brett Howden, hopefully he's doing good, Matthias Janmark, Will Carrier. But that team is too good. They have, in my opinion, the best roster in the league besides Carolina and Colorado. They're up there with them, and that's just great. Washington Capitals, top 25. I have them this low as I don't like their roster. Their goaltending is terrible this year. I'd rather a goaltending tandem like the one they have in San Jose than the one they have. Just doesn't look that good. And Ovechkin's great. Backstrom's good. Tom Wilson's a dirty player who I hate. TJ Oshie's good. And Kuznetsov's good on their forward. And on their D, they have Karlsson, who's good. Besides that, they don't have that many good players. And I don't like it that much. They're really underperforming. They went from being like first or second in the Metro to be fighting for a wild card. Not fighting for a wild card because they're basically in it at this point. But just not that good of a team this year. And not that good of a roster. Winnipeg Jets, top 25. So now it's just a fight to not be in the bottom 7. But Winnipeg has a good roster and should be looking forward to the future. Because they're going through a rebuild now. Blake Wheeler's good, Kyle Connor's good, Mark Scheifele's good. Connor Hellebuck's great, Neil Pionk's decent. But I don't like their role players. They traded away players like Andrew Kopp and Brian Little at the deadline because they were on expiring contracts. But you need players like that to fill out your roster. They could have re-signed him, but they didn't. But they should be looking forward for Cole Perfetti, who's going to be great, and he's going to be the answer to them. Or if they draft Connor Geekie, or someone like that, because he could help out a lot. Calgary Flames. I have them really low. I have them only top 25. Great team. Wait. Now, you're going up. Dallas, you're going down. And yeah, nah, I'm keeping them like that. Calgary, great players in like Goudreau, Tkachuk, Toffoli, to name a few. Monahan, Lindholm. Their team's good, and they're having great deep pairing in like Shillington and Anderson, and Markstrom's having a bounce back here, but not top 10 because I think the teams above them are better. They have a good team. They're in win now mode, which is why they brought in players like Toffoli. But in my mind, I just don't see them as that good. Buffalo Sabres. That's the bottom 7. Skinner, $9 million. Dahlin and Alex Tuck. And Tage Thompson. Those are the only players that off the top of my head I can name on their team. Their team is terrible. And I don't think they're that good. But yeah, that's just how I feel. Detroit Red Wings. Look forward to the future. Your team's got the best future in the league. But for now, besides Raymond, Seider, Larkin, and Bertuzzi, and Verona, they're the only good players on your team. You need more than that. You need good role players. You traded away a great one in Nemestikov, and now you're paying the price of it. And last but not least, sadly, the Islanders. Top 25. Great 5-on-5 lineup. Trotz and Lamoriello constructed a good team. But, I don't know. Barzell's good, but they lost Eberle in the expansion draft, which is the problem. You're paying someone like Anders Lee $7 million. Meanwhile, I could have seen him get half of that, and then they could have gone for someone like Ryan Strome to bring him back to the island for $4.5 million, and that could have been nice. Also, you pay Bailey so much. He's not that good, and your best fourth line in hockey, I think is terrible. Brock Nelson's overrated, and you're re-signing players like Parise now. It's not even worth it. You should give the keys to the kingdom to both Barzell and Wallstrom, and that would be great. Instead of going for veterans like Chara and Green. Give the keys on D to Pelech and Pulock. And Sorokin's great, but I think you gotta trade Varlamov. The deadline was the perfect opportunity to do it. Give him to one of these teams that needs a goalie, like Washington. You could have gotten at least a first for him, because I think he has multiple years left. So you could have gotten like a first or two. That would have been great. But those are my picks for the top teams by roster. Hopefully you agreed with me, and if you didn't, comment down below, but you didn't. I'll see you in the next video, so like, sub, and have a nice day. Bye!